Watch, we're in an industrial complex right now. 200 tons of discarded office paper are being fed into what looks like the world's largest blender. In the next 24 hours, this mountain of forgotten documents, old reports, and discarded notebooks will become something you touch every single day without thinking twice about it. The transformation happening inside that massive steel tank is so complete, so thorough, that what emerges bears no resemblance to what went in. This isn't recycling as you know it. This is industrial alchemy, on a scale that would make medieval alchemists weep with envy. Today we're going inside one of the most secretive manufacturing processes on the planet. We're talking about toilet paper production, an industry that transforms 21 billion rolls globally every year. That's enough paper to circle the Earth multiple times if you unrolled every single piece. You're about to see how a hard, rough, ink-stained sheet of waste paper becomes the soft white absorbent material that's become essential to modern civilization. We'll follow the complete journey from the moment trucks dump those 200 tons of recycled paper to the final moment when perfectly cut rolls emerge, ready for your bathroom. The process involves 7 critical transformation stages, each one more fascinating than the last. Here's what most people don't realize about toilet paper. It's not made from trees anymore, at least not the good stuff. The premium toilet paper in your bathroom right now started its life as office documents, school papers, and university reports. Every sheet that enters this facility goes through a selection process. So precise, it makes diamond sorting look casual. They're looking for specific types of paper with exact whiteness standards and fiber quality. Magazine pages get rejected. Newspaper gets rejected. Only high-grade office paper with the right fiber composition makes the cut. It's like a bouncer at the world's most exclusive club, except the club is for discarded documents. The accepted paper gets compressed into massive bales, each one containing thousands of sheets that once held someone's work, someone's ideas, someone's late-night study sessions. These bales stack up in the warehouse like giant building blocks, waiting for their turn at transformation. The facility can store weeks' worth of raw material this way, creating a buffer against supply disruptions. It's organized chaos on an industrial scale, with forklifts moving these compressed paper monuments around like they're handling precious cargo. Because, in a way, they are. The first real challenge comes when those bales hit the pulper machine. This isn't just throwing paper in water and hoping for the best. The timing has to be perfect. Too little water and the fibers won't separate properly, creating weak spots that will tear at the worst possible moment. Too much water and you dilute the mixture beyond recovery, wasting hours of processing time. The pulper needs exactly the right ratio of water to paper, and if the operators get it wrong, 200 tons of raw material can become 200 tons of expensive waste. The machine runs at such high speeds that there's no stopping it once the process begins. You either get it right the first time, or you start over. Before any paper enters the pulper, quality control runs 2 critical checks. First, they test the fiber length of sample batches. If the fibers are too short, the final product will be weak and tear easily. If they're too long, the paper won't absorb properly. Second, they check for contamination levels. A single batch with too much plastic or metal fragments can jam the entire production line for hours. Last month, they rejected 15 tons of paper because it contained too many staples. That's 15 tons of raw material that looked perfect to the naked eye but failed the microscopic inspection. The rejection cost them a full day of production, but running contaminated material would have cost them a week of repairs and cleanup. Inside the pulper, something almost magical happens. Those giant rotating blades don't just mix the paper and water. They're breaking molecular bonds that have held the paper together for months or years. The cellulose fibers that were compressed and glued into rigid sheets begin to separate and float free. In just 10 minutes, What started as recognizable pieces of paper becomes a liquid suspension that looks like thick gray soup. The transformation is so complete that if you tried to reverse it, you couldn't. The paper's original form is gone forever, replaced by millions of individual fibers ready to be reassembled into something entirely new. Now comes the cleaning gauntlet, and this is where the process gets ruthlessly precise. First, the pulp passes through massive screens that catch anything larger than a cellulose fiber. Staples, paper clips, bits of plastic, chunks of glue, everything that shouldn't be there gets trapped and removed. But that's just the beginning. The pulp still looks dark and dirty because it's filled with ink particles from all those office documents. The dinking process introduces air bubbles mixed with special surfactant chemicals. The ink particles stick to these bubbles like magnets, and as the bubbles rise to the surface, they carry the ink with them. This creates a foam layer that gets skimmed off, taking the contamination with it. Then comes the bleaching tower, a massive vertical tank where the pulp gets treated with chemicals at precisely controlled temperatures. Too hot, and the fibers get damaged. Too cold, and the bleaching doesn't work. The operators monitor temperature fluctuations down to single degrees because a 5-degree variation can ruin an entire batch. Each step increases the stakes, and by this point, any major error means starting over with fresh raw materials. Here's where everything can go catastrophically wrong. The bleached pulp has to be spread onto the forming wire at exactly the right consistency and speed. If the pulp is too thick, the paper will be lumpy and unusable. If it's too thin, it won't hold together and will tear during the drying process. The forming wire moves at 2,000 feet per minute, and at that speed, there's no room for error. The operators have about 3 seconds to detect a problem and make adjustments before hundreds of feet of defective paper get produced. Last year, a sensor malfunction went undetected for just 2 minutes, and they lost 4,000 feet of finished paper. The waste had to be fed back into the pulper, adding 6 hours to the production schedule and costing thousands in energy and labor. But when everything works perfectly, what happens next defies belief. The wet pulp, moving at incredible speed, hits the heated drying cylinders and transforms in seconds from liquid suspension to solid paper. The water evaporates so fast it creates steam clouds, and what emerges is a continuous sheet of paper just 1/10 of a millimeter thick, moving at 2,000 feet per minute. That's faster than most cars on the highway. The finished paper gets wound onto master rolls that can contain up to 75 kilometers of continuous toilet paper. That's enough to stretch from downtown Manhattan to the Hamptons, all in a single unbroken sheet. These master rolls are so large they require specialized equipment just to move them around the factory floor. Each one represents 15 hours of continuous production and contains enough toilet paper to supply a small town for weeks. Even at this stage, disaster lurks in the details. Quality control inspectors hunt for defects that could slip past automated systems. They're looking for microscopic tears, density variations, and contamination spots that are barely visible to the naked eye. A single weak spot in the paper can cause an entire roll to fall apart in someone's hands. And that kind of failure doesn't just lose customers, it destroys brand reputation. The inspectors use high-powered magnification to examine random samples from each master roll. They test tensile strength, absorbency rates, and fiber distribution. If they find even one defect per 1,000 sheets, the entire roll gets rejected. It's brutal quality control, but it has to be. A defective roll that makes it to market can generate hundreds of customer complaints and cost more to handle than the entire production run was worth. The master rolls move to the conversion line, where industrial saws slice them into standard 4-inch wide rolls at 3,000 cuts per minute. The precision required is extraordinary. Each cut has to be perfectly perpendicular, or the rolls won't sit properly on dispensers. The cut rolls get wound around cardboard tubes that were manufactured in a separate process, glued together in a continuous spiral, then cut to exact lengths. Each tube has to be perfectly round and exactly the right diameter, because a tube that's even a millimeter off will cause the toilet paper to bind up in dispensers. The finished rolls get wrapped in plastic or paper packaging, with residential packs containing 4 to 30 rolls and commercial packs designed for high-volume dispensers. The packaging line runs 24 hours a day, producing thousands of finished packages every hour, each one destined for bathrooms around the world. From 200 tons of discarded office paper to millions of perfectly manufactured toilet paper rolls in just 24 hours. But here's the thing that should keep you awake at night. This entire process depends on one invisible enemy that's always lurking in the background. Contamination. One small piece of plastic that gets through the screening, one batch of paper with too much ink, one temperature spike in the bleaching tower, and the whole system can collapse. The toilet paper industry processes 21 billion rolls annually, but it's built on a foundation that's more fragile than most people realize. Every roll in your bathroom represents a victory against contamination, a successful battle in an endless war between precision and chaos. Next time you reach for that roll, remember, you're holding the end result of one of the most complex recycling processes ever invented. If you found this fascinating, hit subscribe and check out our next video on how another everyday essential gets made. Because the more you understand about the invisible processes that surround you, the more you realize how remarkable ordinary things really are. In a world of industrial precision, every detail matters,